Hi, good day, and welcome to this recording for Think Room, where we talk about strategy in the time of COVID 2019 and well into 2020 at this stage. So, what are we going to talk about today? Looking at how we can prepare our businesses for the critical period when our lockdowns lift eventually and when our economies start getting back into order. Business owners at this time have remained stoic. Some of them are panicking. How are they going to pay their employees? How are they going to pay their suppliers? How are they going to pay their livelihoods? And a lot of them are very fearful about the road ahead, but for those that have been around a long time, as you can see with my severe lack of hair, that we've been through the likes of Y2K, we've been through the great dot-com bubble, we got through 9/11, we got through the Great Recession, and we are safe to say that this too shall pass, even though it doesn't look like it at this stage. We will get through this, there's no doubt about it. And then how do we prepare ourselves for that great opening up of the economy again? When we are sure that governments all across Africa, all across the world are going to be pumping huge amounts of money into their economies to make sure that they can get their especially their small businesses up and running again as quickly as possible. So what now, we ask ourselves, that your biggest foe right now is actually not this virus, okay? And as you can see, that it's across the globe. It's affecting people all over the world. I think Antarctica is the only country only continent that hasn't got any confirmed cases yet. But we need to understand that your biggest foe is actually inertia. The people, business owners, are working too much in the business and not enough on the business. They're busy fighting the fires instead of building value in their businesses and taking the time to build value, to look at the businesses a lot more strategically than they are. So without your daily commute, without your daily fighting fires, you've got a lot more time now to think about what your business should look like from a strategic point of view, and to build a durable and valuable company for the time that you will want to exit at a later stage. And you will want to have a greater return on your investment when you do get there eventually, okay? So with the right attitude, we can only influence two things. That is our thoughts, and that is our actions, okay? And if we just stay positive and just don't fear, don't panic, and understand that what we think we become. So if we become have a fearful thought process from the time that we wake up until the time we go to sleep, you're just going to fret, and that's not going to help our businesses going forward. And yes, this might even be a time that your business goes bankrupt. Where to from there? It's not the end of the world. This too shall pass. And how can we look at establishing our business or setting up our businesses, our new businesses, or even our existing businesses, maybe pivoting them totally to look at it totally differently, okay? And let's look at some perspective first of all, okay? And this is such a great quote by the president of Ghana, okay? That we need to look at our lives. That is what is more important. The health of our entrepreneurs, the health of our families, and those people around us, that is going to be far more significant or far more important than anything else, okay? Let's put the first things first, guys. That is all about perspective, and that is the main thing. Stay healthy, and so that when this thing does lift, when we do get back on our feet again, that we are able to get back on our feet, that we are able to take our businesses forward to the next level. Okay, so I mentioned working on your business and not in the business, and this is what this session is all about right now. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how to improve efficiencies on your production line. I'm not going to tell you how to improve your customer service and things like that. I'm going to say that if I could give you any suggestions, this is the time that you should be working on your business, as Abraham Lincoln said. Okay, if you had 8 hours to chop down a tree, you'd spend 6 of them sharpening an axe. Okay, very wise words. Okay, let's go right back to why you are in this business. And I'm sure we've all heard of Simon Sinek. Okay, And if you haven't heard of Simon Sinek, you can just Google him or look for him on YouTube, and you can, it's quite an old video clip by now, but it's all about your purpose and why are you doing what you're doing. Are you doing it for the right reasons, or are you just in it for the money? If you are a survivalist business, that's a different story, but are you also looking out for other people? Are you also doing things like this so that you can ease the lot of others that are less fortunate than you? If it's just about the money, then you need to revisit your purpose and carefully think about it. And this should be the driver to pull you through this very, very tough time. Okay, so let's look at your why. I've worked with several entrepreneurs all over Africa, and Paul in Uganda, you know, when we eventually got down to his why, he came out and he says that he is the youngest of 21 siblings. Okay? He knows hunger, and that's why he was doing what he was doing, which is providing vertical micro gardens for use in small urban areas. Okay, then we look at Muzalema, highly qualified engineer, and when she went back to work back in Zambia, where she came from, originally she went to the clinic to have a baby, and they were going to cut her baby's umbilical cord with a rusty razor blade and use toothpaste as the antiseptic, and that is why she's doing what she's doing, putting together clinic packs for pregnant women going to the clinic. And then we look at, sorry, I didn't do that too well. Dr. Obi in Nigeria, okay, he's a practicing medical doctor who practiced for 10 years in the United Kingdom, and his best friend Charles died of a non-communicable disease, and he could not help him, and that's why I put together a wellness platform to help employers manage their employees' wellness a lot better. And then Nomandla in South Africa, okay, she's lost quite a few people in her immediate family, and that's why she's looking at putting together medication using plants that are well known to be used, and trying to find the active ingredients in plants so that it can be done much cheaper and can be rolled out to a lot more people in the rural areas. I also want you to take an investor approach to your business. Okay, how do you look at your business? Are you worried about your product? Are you worried about your service? If you're an electrician, are you just worried about being the best electrician out there? Are you an engineer and you're just worried about being the best engineer? Are you a software developer and just worried about, or just focused on being a great software developer? But I want you to look at your business as a business, not only as the product or the service that you provide or sell. And how does an investor look at your business? They want a return on their investment. So what is your expected return on your investment in your business? Because you've put money into your business. How much, we don't know. It could have just been, you know, your initial capital to set up a website, or it could be real hard assets that you had to put money into and buy capital equipment. Okay. You've also put in this thing called time. There's an opportunity cost there, because you could have been working for a boss and earning a salary without all the hassles and worries about where are you going to find money to pay your employees and your suppliers at the end of this month. Okay. Quite often we find with entrepreneurs that we work with as well, they're highly qualified, and that's why they're able to do what they're doing. And if they were working for an employee or a large corporate or a government organization, they could probably earn a whole lot more than what they're earning at the moment running their own business. So there's an opportunity cost in there, certainly. So what is that value of time that you put into your business? Try and quantify that, and you'll be probably quite surprised at that amount. Okay, then we look at the next thing, and that is your emotional capital. Especially at times like this, when we've got huge stresses and strains on ourselves, on our entrepreneurs and our business owners, no matter the size of that business. Okay, take a cold, hard look at your business as an investor. So remove yourself as the business owner, as the founder, as a passionate owner of this business. Okay, it's your heart and soul in there. But remove yourself and look at yourself as an investor in that business. And what is that return that you expect to get out of a business? Would you do something differently? If it was a shareholder in your business looking at this business, would they be looking at it differently? Would they expect greater returns from your business? Would they expect different returns? Would they expect a different strategy in your business? As I mentioned earlier on in this call, Okay, this is a time to look at your business strategically and look at working on it and not in it. And how can you look at relaunching or going into this business in a totally different fashion, if necessary. Of course, if that's not necessary, if you've got a great business and can survive this, carry on as before. Okay, it's all about survival. Okay, and to survive this monster called COVID-19, okay, I'm using the 5 C's, and this is with thanks to Vusi Tebakwaya, an awesome entrepreneur here in South Africa, and he put together the 5 C's, and they started with cash. First of all, your cash flow is going to be absolutely king. How much runway have you got at the moment? How long can you last? If your lockdown is going to extend beyond the next month, 2 months, 3 months, okay, is it going to be 4 months before you can start generating revenue again? When this lockdown and when this COVID-19 comes out again, the economies of the various countries around the world are going to be slow. They're not going to kick off with a bang. Yes, there'll be a lot of cash coming into the economies by government assistance, etc. But your particular business or your industry is probably not going to be right back to where you were when we started off with the lockdown. Okay, so cut expenses aggressively and collect payments aggressively where you can. Stay close to your top customers. Schedule a call with them once a week, once every 2 weeks, just to find out how it's going with them. Not only with their business, but also with them personally, because we are all in this together, and it could be affecting different people differently. Just so that when you do get back online, when you do get back on stream again, that when they need to start placing orders, they're going to be thinking of you as top of mind because you were thinking of them at this time. If you can, arrange for short-term credit, either through the various government assistance programs that are out there. That is what we call the free money. Okay, so you don't have to pay it back at a later stage. Of course, if your business is tax compliant and you're up to date with all your tax returns and you are a responsible corporate entity, then you will stand a far better chance of getting access to this funding. If not, you might have to look at going to a bank or a similar funding institution to find out if you can get either a loan or an overdraft or bridging finance of some sort so that you can get through this period. Understand that, of course, you're going to have to pay that back and you'll have to pay it back with interest. Then your colleagues are looking to you for guidance, for leadership, and you will quite often feel that you're not up to it, but that's fine. You're not Superman, you're not Superwoman. Okay, you're entitled to be vulnerable at this time. As I mentioned earlier on, it's all about survival. It's all about perspective and your health and the people around you to be healthy when you get through this. Okay, so check in on your colleagues, and that's your employees, fellow shareholders, fellow directors, co-founders, etc. And make sure that you're talking to each other. Your people are going to need you at this time more than ever. Okay, and of course, communication. You cannot over-communicate, and even if it's just for fun, okay, even if it's just a check-in, even if it's just to have a Friday afternoon, hey, we're going on a weekend now, whatever it is, whatever you would be doing in the office or at the premises, where your facility, your factory, wherever it is, on a Friday afternoon before the weekend break, do that in a virtual environment. And the whole thing about this is stay relevant, stay present, and stay visible. You don't want to be seen to be going into your shell at this time. Okay, let's talk about strategy now. So what is strategy? And this is what this webinar is all about. Okay, it's very much about, there's 3 questions that you've got to ask yourself. Where do you want to be in the future? Based on these things that I've just mentioned to you now. Okay, thinking about your return on investment, what is it that you're doing, why you're doing it, and what is your exit strategy? Where are you now? And what is it going to take to get to your ideal future state? So it's looking at where you want to be at some time in the future, where you are now, and those gaps of where you want to be is your strategy. It's as simple as that. Okay, but in that strategy is going to be things like, what is the product or service that you're going to be selling? Are you going to be pivoting that? Target market are you going to be looking at? Your HR strategy, is that going to be aligned with what your business strategy is? Let's look at your sales and let's look at your operations. Can you get all of those various functional strategies aligned to your main strategy to get to your ideal future state. That is what strategy is all about. But I just want to look at something here, and that is a business model. What is your business model? If you're in a business model that, it's difficult to reach your market, if it's a business model that you've got to spend a lot of money to reach your market, you might want to look at changing that. And I'll look at a couple of things around this as well. So if you're in the business to consumer market, so if you make stuff and sell to the end user, or if you buy stuff and sell to the end user as a retailer, or if you're an online e-commerce store, okay, this is a very tough market to be in, because you've got to be in touch with a whole lot of, and be able to reach a whole lot of end users and things called customers. Business to business, this is where you've got fewer end paying clients, okay, they're a lot tougher to manage because they require a lot more input from you and a lot more time from you, and they're a lot harder to acquire generally, but they are far more valuable, and you can get a lot more revenue out of them. Okay, then we have what is known as business to government, and as far as possible, if you can stay away from government, try to. If your whole business has been built on tendering to government, and you have a good business model, and you're flourishing in that, then you need to look at diversifying and mitigating your risk. Instead of having one client, look at other clients and look at a B2B model and look at diversifying your client base. Having all your eggs in one basket is going to be very, very, very risky. Okay, for that time that you want to exit your business to an investor, they'll be a bit nervous about having one client. So then look at the other business model we look at is business to consumer. So this is where you sell to a business that has got all of those end consumers in mind. It's just a lot easier than trying to reach those customers yourself. And what we talk about here is the value-added reseller model, or the VAR model. Okay, so where you are the product factory, whatever it is that you're making, whether it's software that you're developing, whether it's a bottle of tomato sauce, whether it is whatever it is, whether you make plumbing material or electrical wiring, whatever it is that you make, okay, you as a product factory, you are the entrepreneur. Okay, you are very good at being innovative, you are creative, you're intelligent, and you're strategic. You have to be, because you are the business owner. You started off this business, and you are an entrepreneur, and these are the things that you're very good at. But most entrepreneurs, okay, are bad at other things as well. So they're very good at what they do. As I mentioned earlier, you're very good at being an electrician, or very good at being an engineer, but you're not good at things like sales, not good at things like administration, unless, of course, you are in that field, either in auditing or finance or an accountant or something along those lines. Then you're going to be good at that. You're not terribly good at managing people, and then for the most part, most entrepreneurs are not great at managing their bureaucracy. So what we look at then is you take your product. Okay, we look at what is known as the value-added reseller. So say now you have you make tomato sauce, ketchup, in America. Okay, and you want to sell it. Okay, you get a supermarket or a retailer to go and sell it on your behalf, because you don't want to have to do all those things that you're bad at, which is sales, people, administration, bureaucracy. Okay, value-added resellers are generally speaking very good at, or very bad at, should I rather say, okay, at being innovative, creative, strategic, and intelligent. Okay, so if you look at your average retail supermarket, okay, your average cashier on a till, okay, they can process your tomato sauce sales pretty well, but they're not going to go out and start a tomato sauce factory. They're not going to go out and strategically to think about how to sell more bottles of tomato sauce to more value-added resellers. I'm not going to mention anything about the intelligence. It's more probably a case of the circumstances more than anything else. However, value-added resellers are very good at a whole lot of things that you're bad at. Sales, people, admin, they're very good at that. Okay, so think about your average supermarket chain, no matter where you are in the world. Supermarkets are very good at sales, people administration, and bureaucracy, and a whole lot more besides that. Things that you have not thought about, even got into it, or even tried to tackle. Distribution. You try to get your bottle of tomato sauce from your factory in your country into another country in Africa. But supermarkets have got these logistics networks set up and they can do it. Okay. Things like marketing. Most supermarkets in your country or in your town or in your city will be pretty well known to because they've got a marketing campaign, or they've got a marketing budget, and they've got a brand presence because they've physically got stores in their chosen target markets. Whereas your product factory, you get the tomatoes off the farm, you get your bottles, you get your factory together, and you make sauces, and nobody knows where you are located. They're pretty good at training their people. They can have, the cashier will take your bottle of tomato sauce and process that so pretty efficiently, no matter which country they're in. So it's going to be done the same way, no matter where you are. They've got this thing called systems. Okay, and that's not only your IT systems or technology. They've got a training system to train the cashiers. They've got things like a marketing department. There's a marketing system. They've got things like property development, so they can go out and they can look at feasibility studies and develop models to see whether they should open up another store in Nigeria, whether they should move across to Kenya, whether they should open stores in Zambia, or whether they should go across and open stores in Southeast Asia. Wherever it is, these are things that you have not got the capacity to do. Okay, they've got relationships with the likes of trade unions, with the likes of government departments, the suppliers that you don't have. They're very good at negotiating, and they will probably negotiate the pants off you. They've got this thing called reverse logistics. When you've got your bottle of tomato sauce and the customer wants to bring it back to you, okay, how do they get it to you? If they're living in Nigeria and your factory is in Kenya, how are they going to get it back to you? But they can take it back to that value-added reseller and say, this tomato sauce is rotten or not as good as what it was meant to be, etc. Take it back. And that ties in with this thing called customer service. Even though most supermarkets don't have great customer service, but their customer service is available. They are there for their customers when they need to be. So think about changing your business model so that you're dealing with, this is a business to business model over here, okay? And then of course, this whole thing called customers, okay? They've got access to millions of customers, or thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers, where you've got to go and try and find them either online, through marketing programs, either using mass media like radio, press, or television, or whatever it is. It's very expensive. But those value-added resellers, those businesses, have spent years doing what they're good at to get those customers online. So this is just something to think about, value-added reseller model, a business-to-business model, and figure out if your business can pivot to do this and how. Okay. Then a key driver of company value is what is known as the hierarchy of recurring revenue streams. There are eight of these value drivers, but one of the key ones that you can look at and you can look at implementing is the recurring revenue stream. And if you're making stuff and selling stuff, you always have to be selling. And as a buyer, remember I asked you to look at your business as an investor. As an investor coming in to invest in your business, if you can have a view of revenue streams, if you can predict future revenue streams, you're going to assign a far higher value to your business than having to look at the order book and what is in the order book, and the order book is for the next 30 days. But if I've got a recurring revenue stream of the next 12 months, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, if you're an insurance company and you've got life insurance policies until the life of that customer has passed, hopefully not too soon, that assigns a whole lot more value to your business than just having to sell the whole time. And a lot of business owners talk to me and say, yes, but what about, I make stuff. I make and sell stuff. I'm an engineer. I make vegetable dryers, or I make grain dryers, or I make animal feed out of whatever it is. How do I get it into a recurring revenue stream so that you can lock it down? I will go through this whole concept and see how you can figure out how to lock in recurring revenue streams. Imagine if you could go to sleep at night knowing that your fixed expenses are covered every month from your recurring revenue streams. So that big gaping black hole in your office floor, okay? Only once that is filled, all your sales go into that big black hole. Until it's filled, that you've covered your fixed expenses, you can go to sleep at night without having to stress about having enough revenue at the end of the month to fill your fixed expenses or to pay your fixed expenses. And if you go into a lockdown because of a pandemic across the world, but you still have recurring revenue streams, that is a very powerful thing to have and a very valuable thing to have to you as an investor in your business. So let's look at and what we talk about here is being able to have annuity-based revenue that you collect each month. This is talking about having a passive revenue stream so that you can make money while you sleep. Okay, and this is what I've spoken about is how can an acquirer see where your sales are coming from in the future, a potential investor. If you must start a business from scratch every month, the value of your business will be lower than if you pinpoint your future revenue streams. Okay, it's like having a powerful pair of binoculars for your investor. They can see where are my future investments or my future revenue streams going to come from, and that increases the value of your business enormously. And you can also see at the end of month 8, that contract comes to an end. So I either have to look at renewing it, or I can have to look at finding another contract of a similar size or bigger, or find some more like that. You can also do your projections, your sales projections a lot more accurately done. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of this. It's all about mitigating risk for the investor. And there are 6 types of recurring revenue streams. I'm going to just touch on them very briefly. Each one of them, there's 6 of them. And we'll look at the ones that are least valuable first and go up to the most valuable. Okay, so you think about coffee. It's a disposable item, okay? So we look at things like, if you go to an office and you go past your coffee shop, you pop in there and have a coffee. And tomorrow morning you do the same thing, it becomes a habit. And this is probably where you're going to go for your coffee, for your caffeine fix every morning. Okay? But this is not a very strong, or this is not a very powerful recurring revenue stream. Most coffee shops will have their regulars. They get to know the regulars very well. But there's other ways of going around doing this. Okay? Then we look at sunk money consumables. So if you buy a Gillette razor and you need to get a new razor blade, you can only fit Gillette razor blades onto that razor. Okay, so this is known as a platform. You as a consumer, you invested in that platform, and once you buy that, you've got to go and you've got to buy those blades going forward. Another example is Nespresso. So they don't make their money out of selling those machines. They make their money out of selling the little pods, and they become quite expensive eventually. Okay. Then we look at renewable subscriptions, magazines, etc. And these are pretty good because the nice thing about a subscription is that you get the money up front and then you deliver your product over the period of that subscription. Okay. So this is a good way to create positive cash flow. And cash flow is, of course, enormously powerful, especially in times like when you're in lockdown and the whole global economy is in lockdown. Okay. Then we look at sunk money renewable subscriptions. Okay, this is something like the Bloomberg terminal. So if you're a stockbroker or a trader on the stock exchange, no matter kind of anywhere in the world, okay, if you want to trade on the American stock exchanges, the NASDAQ or any of those big stock exchanges in America, okay, you first have to buy or lease the terminal, and all it is a software platform, okay, and you subscribe to them for that stock exchange data that you have to have. You cannot trade on the stock exchange if you don't have that data. It's just simply, you'll be like a blind man trying to walk in the dark and end up going for a cliff. Okay, so Michael Bloomberg, enormously wealthy because his customers can only get their data from his platform. Okay, so he has a huge amount of what he calls sticky customers that can only get that data from him. And he's managed to build a highly valuable company called Bloomberg's. And he ran for, well, he was the mayor of New York for a while, and he ran for the presidency of the United States, and wasn't successful, but he managed to put hundreds of millions of dollars into his campaign, but it's a lot more than money, obviously. Then we have what is known as automatic renewal subscriptions. For example, document storage. So who would have thought something as menial as document storage? Okay, but quite often you have to, like in South Africa, you have to keep your company financials, the actual physical stuff. You have to keep it for a period of 7 years. So if your revenue service, revenue authority wants to come and check up and do an audit on your tax return, they will ask you for your documentation. So what about this invoice from 6-7 years ago? So you have to keep this. Okay, so you keep these documents and you keep them in a spare room or in an office. That is fine for month 1 of year 1, and you do for month 2 of year 1. And eventually you have year 1, 12 months stock or 12 months pieces of paper in your and you run out of space. So you go to a company like in South Africa, Metrofile, in America, they've got Iron Mountain, and these are companies that will take your paper, they come and collect it for you, they give you boxes and nicely titled, etc. They take it away and they'll store it for you, and they digitize it for you, and they have it on the cloud for you, so that if you need to find it, it's pretty easy to find. But what happens at the end of year 7? Okay, yes, 7 years ago, paper, you can throw that away now. Okay, now you're going into year 8, but now you have to keep year 1 from back there again. So you carry on, so you carry on, so you carry on. So this is what is known as auto renewals. Okay, these are very powerful subscription models, because once you've got all your stuff, you've got 7 years documentation stored with a supplier. What are you going to do with it? You're going to move somewhere else? It's not going to be an easy decision to make. So think about, how can you looking at your business to look at something as mundane as storing paper, and look at your assets and look at your core competencies. What is it that you do well? Can you do something like this? Okay. Then we look at contracts. So this is the most valuable subscription model, where your clients are contractually obliged to pay you a fee every month for the next foreseeable future. Okay. So cell phones are the cell phone companies, they get you to buy a new cell phone and you can pay it off over 24 months. Or they'll say, take out a subscription and you get X amount of data, X amount of calls, X amount of texts every month, and you pay off your cell phone over the next 2 years as well. Once you have been locked into a cell phone contract, and yes, we know that prepaid is a lot more valuable in Africa and in the developing world, but if you have a contract, you want to keep that number. So I've had my number since 1996. Okay, and I ain't likely going to change it. It's just in too many places. So if something goes wrong with the password on Google or password on somewhere, it is going to go to that cell phone number. Okay, and I don't even know how to change it or where to change it. It's just going to take too long to do it. Okay, there's too many places. It's ingrained in my life. So can you get your customers contractually obliged to go to you to figure out how you can then get them to do to pay you a monthly fee every month? Okay, just look at something like automobile manufacturers, the likes of General Motors, BMW, and Audi, VW, etc. So often entrepreneurs will say, but I make stuff. I make these huge dryers for vegetables, things like that. I say, okay, give it away for free and work backwards from there to change your thinking. And that's like quite an eye-opener. I worked with an entrepreneur in Kenya that's working on a smart device for blind people, and wanted to charge a huge amount of money for it, dollars. So give it away for free and figure out how you can make money out of the data that you're going to be collecting from various sources, and who can buy your data from you. And that could be a far more sustainable model than just making smart devices and selling them, making smart devices and selling them, because a factory in China or in India can pick up on this very quickly and make it as well. So if you look at the likes of the auto finance or the automobile companies, they've sucked in the value creation or the value chain in the whole pipeline. So just look at, in the past, they would make a Ford and sell a Ford, and that's it. So then what they did, they had 4 dealerships. So they keep the money in-house over there. The employees get the margin out of that. You can only take your Ford to a Ford dealer to get serviced. So they're now keeping the maintenance of their Ford or Toyota within their network. Then you look at Ford Financial Services or Toyota Financial Services. They have now become financial services companies. They make more money, way more money, out of the financing of their business, of their product, than out of selling the product. Because included in the financial services, you go and you say, I want to buy a car, but I don't have enough money to buy a van. I'll pay it off over the next 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. They say, sure, we'll do that for you. Okay, we'll give you a good deal, better interest rates than you're going to get from the bank. But you're going to pay interest on that, and you'll get a maintenance plan thrown in, but you're going to pay for that as well. It's included in your monthly subscription or monthly repayment or monthly installment. So they've managed to keep all of those values that have traditionally been sent out to the likes of mechanics or car dealerships or to finance houses, to banks, to insurance companies, because you can get insurance through them as well, and they've put it all in-house. What can you do in your business that can give you contractual value adds from your customers? Okay. So some practical how to go about doing this. Think of the how you're going to do this is look at the above list like a ladder, and each rung that you climb up on the way towards number 1, the more valuable your business will be. So Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to get there immediately. So figure out those aspects of your business that can be turned into a recurring revenue stream. Most companies don't get there. Very few of them are there totally. If you look at the likes of an Amazon, brilliant business model, one of the most valuable business in the world or company in the world. Okay, at a great business model. Okay, you go online and you buy a book and it gets delivered to your Kindle while Jeff Bezos is asleep. Okay, you've come into his bookshop, you've browsed, you found an author that you like, you found a book that you like. Your payments, you've taken it to the till and it's gone. It's been linked to your credit card. He takes your money while he's asleep and he delivers your book to you. Boom. Okay, brilliant business model. But again, he has to be selling to make his money. Always be selling. Okay, so he came up with this thing called Amazon Prime. It's just like a subscription model. Okay, where you pay, depending on the country that you're in, not a lot of money every month, and you get a whole lot. You get free deliveries. You get access to the sales first. There's a whole lot of benefits, and you essentially can pay off your Amazon Prime membership model just by accessing or utilizing those benefits. And the same with this Amazon Kindle. You can buy for $9.99 a month. You have, you've got millions of books there that you can get for free, okay, in inverted commas. Okay, and how he makes his money is on the breakage model. So yes, there's going to be a certain amount of people that will take, and they will work the system, and they will be able to, they will get their full value. They'll get the $10 worth plus a whole lot more of books out of Amazon Kindle or out of Amazon Prime. Okay, they'll order their deliveries, grocery deliveries, 3 times a week. Okay, but there's going to be 95% of the people that are on Amazon Prime are not going to do that. So that's known as the breakage model. So how can you put together a breakage model? Okay, how do you move up the recurring revenue? How can you add a consumable element to what you sell? So say now you sell an espresso coffee machine, or you sell a printer. Okay, ink cartridges are far more valuable to you than printer. Could you ask your customers to say, pay me a small amount per month, and whenever your printers run out, I'll supply with a cartridge. Something along those lines. Okay. How can you get them to buy from you for a year in advance, like a magazine subscription? And then could you look at being, okay, so debit orders and invoices and EFTs up front, okay, so that you can, instead of the thing called collecting cash, okay, or collecting outstanding invoices, outstanding payments is a very expensive task that you have on your hands as a business owner. You need people to do that for you, and people are very expensive. So how can you do that electronically, and how can you get these EFTs done almost, can you use mobile money, and that the likes of debit orders is something that works in a country like South Africa with a very advanced banking system, more advanced than America. But in places like Kenya, you've got M-Pesa. Can you use that to get up there? And can you offer a maintenance contract to service what you're selling? So yes, you sell a vegetable dryer. You say, for X amount of dollars per month, whenever I'll come and service it once a month, or I'll come and service it once a year, whatever it is, or your big generator, I can take your generator and I can come and make sure that there's enough diesel there every month. You don't have to worry about it. I'll service it, make sure that it's done. So that, can you sell a maintenance component to your product that you sell? But first things first, let's look at our perspective, okay? Health, look after yourself and other people. Mentally, physically, and emotionally get out of this. We're not expecting you to be Superman or Superwoman coming out of this thing and you're going to change the world. You're not, okay? Survive this monster and the 5 C's that I mentioned earlier on: cash, customers, credit, colleagues, and communicate with as many people as you need to. Is your business structured to deliver the best value to you, the best investment on your, or the return on your investment when you want to exit the business eventually, okay? Some closing thoughts. Figure out why you're doing what you're doing. With your attitude, it is either going to make you or break you. We're all in this together, guys. We're all taking strain. There are many big businesses that are going to go bankrupt, okay? If you go bankrupt, so what? Pick yourself up. Where to from there? You are an entrepreneur. You are creative. You are intelligent. You are innovative. You are strategic in your thinking. Those are the things that you're good at. How can you apply what you know to your new business model? Okay, and just think about this. Startups founded during the last Great Recession in 2008 to 2010. Okay, the likes of Uber, Airbnb, Slack, Pinterest, WhatsApp, and Square. Amazing businesses that are worth billions of dollars. Okay, if you look at just the likes of Zoom, this is a program that I'm recording this webinar on, where they've more than doubled in the last since this COVID hit in January 2020. Okay. I thank you for staying with me. All the best out there, guys, and I really wish you the best of strength and health and happiness, and go and get it done, guys. We rely on you, the entrepreneurs and the small business owners and the medium-sized business owners, to pick the economies of respective countries up to get this done. All the best, and goodbye, and thank you.